Adelaide hosting the Eagles this afternoon at Noarlunga in round 11 action in the SANFL. South Adelaide, well, they're chasing 3 wins in a row. If they succeed, it'll be the first time in 3 years they've managed that. So coming off 2 wins in a row and looking to get some success over this team, which is very much a form team in the competition. They lost their first game of the season. Since then, they've won 8 in a row. And coincidentally, they lost that first game to South Adelaide. So very interesting afternoon in store this afternoon at Noarlunga, with South Adelaide coming up against the Eagles. Andrew Rogers, the former Eagles champion, joins us. And Andrew, very, very interesting contest this one. South Adelaide really needs a win to justify its standing in the competition.
They really are starting to gel really well under Robert Hyman from the Eagles' point of view. They're on a nice roll at the moment. Ronnie Fuller quoted last week he wasn't quite happy with what they're doing at present. Just simmering along. Need to put in a good performance today at Noarlunga.
Well, we mentioned the last time they met. Let's have a look at that result. And that was in round 2. It was actually the Eagles' first game of the season. And they went down there. That was at Woodville too. They would have been disappointed with that first up result. But before that, if we go into the past and last year, this was the match at the Woodville Oval, which was a comfortable 18-point victory, a 3-goal victory for the Eagles over South Adelaide, and pretty much they've been dominant for a long time over the Panthers.
They certainly had won their previous 16 in a row before this, including this game here, and they really have got a host of on-ballers. They can run through in the midfield. We saw Hayden Skipworth, who unfortunately, well, fortunately enough for him, is playing for the Crows today. But they really have got a lot of quality on-ballers, and that could be the crunch aspect of today's game.
We saw there Justice Igalello almost lost to the club, but he is with the club. He went across to Geelong, had a bit of a look and see, didn't like what he saw and came back. And in that particular match, he was a star as they won by 18 points. And as we said, last season they were certainly dominant over South Adelaide. And we see there one big margin of 42 points, the rest 3 or 4 goal margins. In fact, in the Magarey medal, 16 of the 18 votes up for grabs across those 3 matches went to the Eagles. So they were pretty much dominant through those matches. As we look at it overall, as you said, 16 wins in a row to the Eagles. That's reflected in those figures.
And both sides should come in confidence today. The South would have gained some confidence from early in the year, beating the Eagles at Woodville, but the Eagles should come in confidence, going for a club record 9 consecutive wins in a row in a year. I really think that they probably should be too strong, but look, South are a dangerous opponent.
Well, speaking of dangerous opponents, Norwood found a dangerous opponent last night at the Parade. They would have gone into that match, the Redlegs, thinking they had a chance. Unfortunately, they fell to West Adelaide, a fairly comfortable 6-goal margin. 30 points, the final margin there at the Parade. As we look at that premiership table, the Eagles sitting there on top.
Yeah, it's a great aspect. First time since year 2000 the Eagles have been on top. Unusual for Centrals to be sitting in second place.
And a quick look through those goal kickers. Last time I said Rod Tregenza, we were going to see him in action. That was 2 weeks ago. He pulled out with an injury. I think he's actually going to play this afternoon. Mark Passador, though, has a hamstring problem and he will not play. The Eagles' leading goal kicker. A quick look through what's on in SANFL this week. As we said, Westie's a winner. South against the Eagles here at Noarlunga is our match of the day, and then North and Sturt is the match at Prospect, and then on Monday. Isn't it great to have a long weekend? Glenelg taking on Central. The Tigers may not think it's a great weekend because the Bulldogs are coming off a loss, and I reckon they might be, well, in for a pounding, the Tigers. Let's say that. Mark Soderstrom joins us as usual from the Boundary. Soders, what have you got in news on the South team?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. A late change for the Panthers. Mark Damasi coming into the side at the expense of Mark Miller, just looking to boost the forward area there. And after a couple of wins, confidence is rising at Noarlunga.
Yeah, 2 wins have been good from the senior point of view. I think from a club point of view, though, it's been particularly encouraging the way we've gone about our football. The 17s are sitting equal top, the 19s are equal top, and the reserves are sitting top. So there's a bit of buzz and a bit of confidence around the place at the moment.
The Eagles, a tough opponent. This will no doubt give you an idea of exactly where you're at.
No doubt, they've won 8 in a row and they're sitting on top of the ladder, so they're the form side, so particularly big test for us.
Just look at that South Adelaide lineup. Gee, they look strong, that name Carey in the middle.
Certainly, he's looking forward to seeing Jaron Bennett today, a real quality player. I love the way he plays. Scott Webb, it's been around the place for a long time, but he's very much part of a solid solid forward. And Rod Tregenza in a real key matchup against Stephen Hall.
Well, we talked about the Eagles' ability to win over South Adelaide, but look, they've had a long winning streak. If we look at this, 8 in a row is their record in season, if you like. 13 in a row between round 19 and round 7 over 93 and 94. Interesting for you though, Andrew, I will tell you that in 1994 they lost the premiership match, and in 2000 they also lost the premiership match, or grand final, having won 8 in a row.
So based on that theory, if they win today, they are absolutely certain for the premiership this year.
Maybe not, who knows. Sodas, what have you got for us from the Eagles camp?
Yeah, Mark Passador still continues to struggle, the spearhead, with a hamstring injury. The club is hopeful, however, he will return for the match against Sturt next week, so it won't help them too much today. And with South Adelaide defeating the Eagles earlier this year, I asked Ron Fuller whether revenge was on the agenda.
Not at all, not revenge, Mark. We just want to win the game. It's always difficult coming away, and Noarlunga's probably the furthest you travel, so no, we just want to win the game.
Fergus Watts is destined to have an AFL career soon. You're happy to hold on to him as long as you can?
Yes, certainly happy to hold on to him. His footy's been okay, and I think the Crows have recognised that it's been okay, but probably needs to do a little bit more to play at the next level.
Well, look at that Eagles lineup, and they just look strong across all lines, and they have, in fact, shown that because they've been consistent this season.
They were able to cover the loss of Hayden Skipworth and, of course, Robert Shirley, who are playing for the Crows, but they still have got a number of on-ballers they can run through in the midfield. Just looking forward to seeing Mark McKenzie continue his development, but also looking forward to seeing Gavin Colville return to his very best form. He's very much on the edge. If he can just take that next step, he's gaining fitness and confidence, and I expect him to be a key contributor today.
Just waiting now, man in the centre of screen, in the civvies, if you like, Malcolm Whitford, the former North and South wingman, tossing the coin, and we'll just have a look at which way it's gone and then gauge the significance of it. Gavin Colville from the Eagles winning the toss, choosing to kick to right of screen. Mark Soderstrom kicking to right of screen. What would that mean?
Well, it'll certainly mean there's an advantage. There's a pretty stiff breeze at the moment, threatening to blow me down to Victor Harbour. So the Eagles will have the advantage in the first quarter. Could be some showers later in the day, a top of 17 degrees. And after the heavy rain last night, the ground has pulled up a tree.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Well, just about set for a start this afternoon. We just get a quick look at that windsock. You would imagine that breeze will pick up during the afternoon. But for the first bounce, welcome to Michael Maney.
Round 11 of SANFL football. Underway. Knocked down, taken by. Long kick toward Floriani. Wright just shared it with Smith. Wright's got it again. Just dribbles a kick forward. Well done by Tarrant, got it to Damasi. Damasi kicks forward. Tregenza had the opportunity. Sikalella just to the outer side. Colville at the back, the front web. Good contest, outer side. Well done, Westbrook. And it will be a bounce. Interesting the way this has gone so far. Pretty tight. The ball up. Knocked down. No one can take it, and we'll have a secondary bounce. Let's go to the south bench for Sodas.
For the Panthers, Benny Warren, who kicked 4 goals last time we saw him on TV here, Michael Hamby, and also Sean Daly.
Thanks. Mark Soderstrom. Merriman. Flicked away to King. His kick was smothered. Hedge on the boundary line. It'll be thrown back in.
Just some interesting matchups down the other end. So we get a look at Dale Ellis against Stuart Bennett, but also Clay Sampson against Inkster. So we look at that great smother there by Matty Powell. But just interesting, Inkster versus Clay Sampson, both very attacking players.
Merriman got it back to Sikalella, who just slammed it on the boot. Ball thumped forward. Toya in the long sleeves this afternoon. You wouldn't blame him for that. Long kick. Thumping kick by Toya on the end of the breeze. Well done by young Griffin, just works it to the line. Stokes there. Good play by the young man. Let's go to the Eagles benchmark.
Yeah, Luke Spear, Ryan Potter and Brett O'Hara, who no doubt will see in the ruck probably about halfway through the first term.
So ball into play on the main grandstand flank. Roving it with Stokes, just couldn't get the hand pass over King, which theoretically shouldn't be too hard a task. King's not that tall. Ball out of bounds again, just on the 50. Clinton King there, key recruit for South Adelaide. Lindsay Griffin takes the crumbs, got one high, I thought. Got the kick away, miraculous almost. Out of bounds again. We'll get another throw in as we expect. It's very tight. Have a look at that.
Yeah, just put his head down there. Probably good call by the umpire, but interesting, no one has elected to match up in the midfield. They're certainly going to let the no tag, so they're going to let each other go head to head.
Todd Bradley getting to the front, rode by Powell. Heavy clash of bodies. We'll get another bounce down.
And of course, with that, the rucking duel is going to be so important today. Mark Bradley in very good form, but up against O'Hara and Lindsay. Expect that to be a really good contest.
Here's Webb, little hand pass. The ball was always heading towards the line. Gee whiz, it's not going anywhere fast, is it?
Glad you're on.
Last met in round 2, of course, is South Adelaide, the victors then. Only loss for the Eagles this season. Powell tries to force his way through. It is reminiscent of a rugby scrum as McKenzie gets the kick out of the pack. And that might bounce through in the end. It does! Oh, it doesn't. Well, that'll make very interesting looking on the replay. With goal umpire Kemp just touched on the line. McKenzie to snap out of the pack and almost carrying all the way. Tough to see that.
It's happened very much in fast motion. As I said, I'd like to have another look at that, but you can see the value of the breeze there. McKenzie just threw it on his left foot from just inside 50, and it's nearly carried the distance.
Griffin kicks to the outer side. King can't take the mark. Well done by Webb. Handball just missed Bennett. Let's have another look at that. Ooh. What's your decision at home?
It's not close, is it?
Well, unless it was touched off the boot.
Very, very long fingernails. It didn't get picked up. Griffin, King. His kick into that breeze. Colville, the skipper, who's been in outstanding form. 170 games, 17 possessions last week. They just share it. Long kick. Taken, snapped over the shoulder by Lindsay for a goal. As he missed. The big man on his non-preferred, just missing to the right-hand side.
And South need to be aware that Dale Ellis is a thumping kick. We saw Gavin Colville give it off into space, similar to what the Doggies have done over many years to a number of players, Daniel Healy, etc. They just need to be aware of him around the marking contest and demand him up.
There's a lot of faith in this young man. 17-year-old Ryan Griffin with the kick-out duties for South Adelaide. That kick tried to keep it low, thumped back inside 50 by the Eagles. That was Ellis, or possibly coming over the top. Just wait for the ball to be thrown in. Very early stages here at Noarlunga. Cool breeze blowing, and you see it, even the effect on the ruck work there as the ball came in. Colville tried to rove it. Out of bounds again.
I'd expect we see a fair bit of play on the outer side in front of this scoreboard pocket. Breeze taking the ball that way will be the defensive side for South Adelaide in this first quarter.
Boundary umpire helping the cause by just slowing the play down, bringing it in. Bradley tapped at a defensive side. Watts with a hand pass to nobody in particular, and the ball's wrapped up again. A lot of players around it. We'll get another bounce down. No way that Andrew Carey was getting out of there.
Andrew Carey forced his way into this South team. Lindsay does the ruck work. Regolo flicks it over the top. It ends up with Watts, pushed off the kick. Ball will be just rushed through for one behind. Fergus Watts just unable to get a kick on that. Just got a good nudge out of the way. Good work by South.
Just took one step too many. Just needed to send that up to the top of the square, give his fellow forwards a chance. But as I said, once again, I expect Ryan Griffin, he's about to change all, stuff my theory up there completely, but to go to the outer side.
Well, worked it pretty well. Cobbs found some space on the wing. Goes low and hard with a kick. Tarrant on the lead. Almost a grab out of bounds in the end, but they forced it down to half forward. And that's not bad from a kick in into the breeze in what is a strong breeze. And the Eagles have been basically camped at that end of the ground for some time. Lindsay just slapping it forward. Sampson, good skills, and then off the side of the boot, the inside of the boot, towards the boundary.
side. You can see in this passage of play here, South Adelaide working hard just to put some pressure on the Eagles, and eventually they work it free. Dale falls into the space, and he just went back and calmly slotted it through. So the Eagles gone inside 55 times to 2, finally gets a reward for their better play and their control of the footy so far.
Has been troubled by a back injury, Dale Ellis. He kicks his first of the afternoon. Lindsay got it down. King quickly. Carey taken away by Smith. Saw him a couple of weeks ago. A lot of the football to Tarrant. Taken away by King. Just threw it on the boot. Got a call from a man out in the wing. Takes the mark in Kruger. Lee Kruger. Tough customer from half-back. Tries to keep it low. The only alternative, thumped away by Fruin toward the line. Wright's there for the Panthers. Does well in a confined space. Kicks looking for Tregenza. Has that come off his boot? No, it's come off his thigh. As the boundary umpire signals. Boundary throw-in, 12 minutes gone. The Eagles by 4 points. They're kicking with a strong breeze in this first term at Noarlunga. SANFL football, round 11. Kruger knocked it down. Wright went with the boot. In goes Hedge and Stokes. Another ball up. How have you seen it so far, Andrew?
Just interesting. I think South on top around the clearances. There's certainly the centre clearances. They've worked it away a couple of times. Just not getting full value from the dominance of Paul Lindsay and Brett O'Hara in the ruck.
Taken by Powell. Burst through. Oh, Stokes caught one high from Tarrant. And you heard someone giving some advice there to the umpire. Stokes, and a little bit high. The head is sacrosanct, you would think. Stokes looks for that man over there. We're going to struggle with his name today, Rugalo. Kicks long. Mackenzie's the target. Griffin did well to get a hand on it. Bennett, very quick hands, got it away to Smith. Smith ducks it inboard, looking for Carey. Good pirouette. His kick to the wing, got a call from Nigel Smart. Back in the Panther lineup today. Kicks long to the boundary. Tregenza just inside. Takes the mark. So the Panthers an opportunity to kick goal number 2. Tregenza, gee, to take a good kick to get it from here. He's kicking into a bit of a breeze there. He's looking to lay it off already.
Yeah, look, kicking in the teeth of the breeze. You can see the value there of Nigel Smart. Able to pinpoint a pass to Rod Tregenza. Importantly, that Stephen Hall worked him towards the boundary line. So a very difficult shot for goal.
Rod Tregenza has one on the board. You'd think he'd kick it to the top of the square from here. Hope for a mark.
Not as a full forward, he won't.
There he goes. Well spoken, Andrew Rogers. He's given it everything. Smith flew, and the ball is out of bounds.
Full forwards have very much a history. If you're inside 50, have a ping at him. Look, I haven't got a problem with that. Just needs to kick the goal, that's all. I think, given his time again, I'm sure Robert Pine would have liked him to kick that to the top of the square.
Fruin got the palm to the ball. Stokes got a hand pass. It was loose. Sikalala made the most of it, though. Now to Toya. They break from half back through the middle. Sikalala couldn't make up his mind what to do. In the end, they do it pretty well. So Eagles into attack again, straight down the middle. Cobb got his man out of the way and then took the rebound. Well done by Kim Cobb. The hand pass off. And now Wilson from the back gets another chance to set up. He goes high towards Smart. From behind, a great mark coming down for Carey. Carey inside, quickly to Webb. This is what South will want to do. Into the breeze, they move it. Webb off the left foot, inside 50. King's in the area. Tregenza was the target. At the front, the ball comes. There's Tregenza, found to King. His hands were quite brilliant, and Manhood misses.
Slick work inside there by Clinton King as we get a look at the mark again by Carey. Gavin Colville unfortunately had to back into the pack, and Carey with a jump at it. Nice and clean, but South are impressive as they run the ball into the breeze.
Long kick by Stokes, just about to the middle of the ground. Fruin, good tackle in there by Hedge, takes him to ground. Umpire Williams comes charging in, takes the footy. There's Brent Fruin, who struggled to work his way back into this Eagles lineup. Good early season form by the Eagles. Well done by Lindsay. Trouble is he knocked it in the path of Smart, who kicks for the boundary line and finds it, number 13 there. Mark Damasi, there's Nigel Smart. Is at the end of his AFL career. Will he see his career out with the Panthers?
And at the 16-minute mark, South Adelaide have done very well into this breeze. There would be some worrying signs here for Ron Fuller.
The volleyball taken by Powell. Stokes Shared it with Rugolo. Long kick into space. Well done by Filippo. Falls back to Cobb, who was carted off on a stretcher last week. Filippo, good second effort from him. He looks a bit freer today, Sam Filippo. Knocks it out. Inkster got it back. McKenzie normally uses it well. Oh, Wilson just uses Fergus Watts as a stepladder and gives away the free kick.
Yeah, it's a bit clumsy there by Wilson, just over the top of Fergus Watts. Didn't need to go as hard at the footy as he did. You can see that the ball's always going to carry over the top. Fergus Watts had already realised that. So Wilson just a little bit clumsy, and Fergus Watts gets an opportunity to put the Eagles second on the board.
Quick change by Robert Pyman. Andrew Carey off with some altitude sickness onto the ground. Michael Hanby.
Good work, Mark. This to take it out to 9 points. Watts, Dead-Eye Dick knows how to kick a goal, this young man. Number 36. So it's the Eagles by 9 points. Fergus Watts gets his first, and there's Ronnie. He'd be happy with that.
Yeah, certainly with both young key forwards for the Eagles have been involved, kicking the first 2 goals. Mark McKenzie's had a bit of the footy early also, but that's just a clumsy over the top. It just gives away a goal. South have worked really hard into this breeze, so Robert Pyman just wouldn't be totally happy there with Ben Wilson's effort there.
Nine points the margin. Still early in this match. Bradley just jumping into Lindsay. Been interesting contest all day. 2 ruckmen who very much use the body. It's play on out of the middle. A free kick was going the Eagles' way. Ellis at half forward just slaps the ball down. Powell did well to rove it, but he's surrounded by South Adelaide players. We'll get a bounce down. Michael Hanby, you saw there, number 33, getting off the ground. There's Powell. Ball quick to be thrown up. And that was pushed to the face. I think it'll be a free kick to Lindsay, and Hanby was the culprit. He actually had the ball in position, and he lashed out with a hand to try and get rid of Lindsay, and he, as a result, will take the free kick. And he wasn't interested in the push and shove, Andrew. He wanted to get back.
Very Paul Lindsay-like, but just expect him here. Once again, he's not the longest kick in the side, so just be wary of someone running around the back, and Dale Ellis is now doing that now. You just see him run through picture, but Jared Bennett's pointed him up. Doesn't need to try to overkick this. Just control his kick, let the breeze do the work for him.
Gave away more free kicks than any other player in the SANFL last year. So when you get one, I suppose he wanted to take advantage of it. He didn't quite do that, did he? 1 point.
You can see he was just always stretched for distance here. He never really looked comfortable as he came in. So the Eagles just frittering away a few late opportunities here.
2 behinds to the big man. Griffin, good kick out. Spots up Webb. Webb in turn goes short to right. Another short kick will find Bradley. This is the way they've decided to work it. They've gone to the outer side on most occasions, but they've been pretty effective when they've gone to the grandstand side in the shelter of the breeze. Maybe they want to keep it out there for some reason. Bradley goes to Cobb. Powell just about got there. So 4 possessions, and they've only just gone outside 50. Cobb just kicks it to a 2-on-1. Well done by Lindsay. Taken away by Colville. It ends up with Watts. Watts, a short kick, finds Filippo. Left foot, right foot. Fergus has got it covered. And Sam Filippo will kick from 40 metres out. Very slight angle. And the Eagles looking for their third.
Just not sure about that, bringing the ball back into the middle, especially kicking into the breeze. Eventually they worked to the outer side and was able to be turned over. Sam Filippo found some space. Once again, a very good kick for goal. I expect a player of his class ilk to finish this.
Sam Filippo. Good looking kick. Goal umpire does minimal work to his left. But the Eagles have goal number 3, and they stretch their lead out to 16.
Yes, and as I said, South brought out a good chain of handballs here by the Eagles, and Fergus Watts showing his versatility for a big fella on his left foot. Just gives it some air in front of Sam Filippo, who takes a comfortable chest mark, and he is a very good shot for goal. And finishes nicely, and importantly for the Eagles, their key forwards have picked their 3 goals.
A change in the ruck for the Eagles. Brett O'Hara on, replacing Deputy Vice Captain Paul Lindsay.
Robert Pyman not happy, just making a couple of changes there as umpire Peter Williams prepares to start play again. King quickly to right, then Smith, Looks up, just bombs it high. Manhood perhaps the target. Cicolella with the punch. McKenzie at the front for the Eagles. Taking the ground, will get a bounce. Keep on saying a bounce. I think the SANFL umpires have decided the best thing to do is to throw the ball up in general play. And Peter Williams just signalling that now. Up it goes. O'Hara with the tap. Missed his target. Hanby and McKenzie both kicks smothered. Then it came back to Smith. High and not so long, about 40 metres up and about 20 metres forward. O'Hara coming against the tide. Gee, that's hard to do, and that's brave. Opens himself right up by going with two hands above the head. Short to Toya was a good disposal as well. The Eagles hold things up as we get another look at that.
It's courage with a capital C, isn't it?
As I said, he opened up his ribs in order to take the ball. Toya's kick had to be perfect, it was. Now the Eagles will go forward again. The long kick down towards half forward. Oh, and unopposed in the end was Stokes just falling across there. And this could be a shot on goal from Stokes. He has the leg power to go this far in the breeze. He opts to go short now to Filippo on the lead. Wilson gave him half a yard. That was all he needed. The skills of Stokes did the rest.
Disappointing after South. They worked really hard in the first 17 or 18 minutes of this quarter. Just the last 2 or 3 minutes, young Ryan Griffin being touted as a high draft pick this year to go to the AFL. If your man goes in Matthew Stokes, you must go with him. You can't rely on your other teammates.
Filippo to kick from perhaps maybe 50, maybe right on 50, maybe just outside the 50 when he kicks the ball. In fact, kicks from 51, a good long kick as you'd expect with the breeze, just slightly to the right. So the minor score.
And look, that's not such a bad miss because he missed to the actual right side. The breeze, he gave the breeze a chance to bring it back. Probably didn't come back as much as what he required it to do. So just importantly, as I said, their key forwards are heavily involved so far for the Eagles.
Andrew, Benny Warren, who kicked 4 goals a fortnight ago and a half against North Adelaide's come on the ground to replace Mark Bradley. Bradley actually just popped the finger about 5 minutes ago.
Thanks, Mark Soderstrom. There's Fergus Watts. Ball's just trickled out of bounds. 23 and a half gone first term. Eagles by 17.
I'd just like to see the Eagles push their zone a little bit wider on that side and leave this side open and see if Ryan Griffin's prepared to come to this side and open up the scoring side.
Brugolo got it away to Stokes, to Ellis, off a step. We know he can hoist a footy, Ellis. He's just missed the left-hand side. Took a bit of time, measured it, just off a step, backed himself, but just missed.
So just the Eagles, just you see Paul Lindsay sit down after a good first 15 minutes of this quarter. But just the Eagles starting to win some 50-50 contests around the ground. They're starting to control the stoppages, the boundary throw-ins and the ball up.
Again, they go to the outer side of the ground. Smart will fly in the middle of the pack. He brings it to the front. Hanby, just this quick hand pass to Wright. Now he's in trouble. Wright almost ridden, and then McKenzie gets the scraps around the corner with the kick. Just a little bit too much carry for the target in Inkster. And the captain of South Adelaide, Clay Sampson, takes the mark. And now Sampson will hold up play. They don't want to come this side of the ground. Prepared to go backwards in order to achieve what they want, is to go to the far side of the ground. Bennett, the next man in the chain, and that one is over Bennett's head and dangerous. Goes back and almost is collected. In the end, he did well just to get it out of bounds for South Adelaide. They moved that ball across the back line, prepared to go backwards in order to get it to the far side of the ground, the defensive side of the ground. 25 plays 7. The Eagles with the breeze in the opening quarter. O'Hara at the back there, number 43, just taps it down right, gathers the crumbs. Along the boundary line he goes with a kick. Would be happy to see it out of bounds. Comes off Pedler and forward. And then Pedler gives away a free kick, or does he? Yes, the umpire's going to pay a free kick against Pedler. And Webb will take it for South. Moggy, sorry.
That was South's first free kick. Gets the cheers from the Thunder supporters.
The thunderous cheers. Tarrant taken out of bounds on the far side of the ground. One of many recruits to South Adelaide this season, coming from Queensland. Centre wing, far side of the ground. Admiral Lunga. And Hedge just pulls O'Hara off the ball. Stokes read it best. Over the back, Stokes' worm-burning kick, just a little too low for Ellis. He couldn't gather it. McKenzie ran into a brick wall named Bennett. And we'll get a bounce down.
And just an important last 2 or 3 minutes in this quarter. If the Eagles can get another goal or two, they open up a nice margin. For South, if they can at least hold or steal one into the breeze, they come away with a fairly squared quarter.
South working hard. Sampson kicks to a couple of Eagles, Floriani and Stokes. Floriani did well. Stokes couldn't get through. Good tackle by Smith. Loose ball jars out. King with desperation dives on the footy. Well, how will the umpire see this? They'll have a bounce. King just got rolled over onto his back. Couldn't get rid of the footy.
Yeah, the umpires seem to have gone a little bit off that holding the ball in the area in the last few weeks. Just look, if you can disguise it well, you're in front.
Huge leap by Hedge, taken by Floriani, looking for Watts. Just about got there. Wilson did well in the end. Held onto the footy for a fortnight. Dived on it. And another bounce in there. Also just allowing the players to be tackled and slung in the tackle and hold onto the footy for that little bit extra, Andrew.
I'd just like to see him, as I said, if he's got a prior opportunity, I haven't got a problem. Just an Eagles play. Grab his jumper, put your hand in the air, force him to do something with the footy.
Phillippo, that was clever. Griffin just fed it out toward Cobb, who is quite happy to run it out of bounds as we get late into the quarter. 27 minutes gone. There's Mark Bradley having a stretch. Great year so far for Bradley. Boundary throw in. O'Hara down into the hot spot. Stokes, well done. Good carriage, Cobb. Can't get rid of the football. Umpire's letting it go. Now he crosses the arms and will bounce. 18 points the difference in favour of the Eagles.
A perfect situation where Sam Phillippo didn't need to dive on top of him. Just grab a jumper, force Kim Cobb to do something with it.
Well, Hedge took that out of the ruck, didn't appear to dispose of it properly. Hamby got one high. Umpire calls play on. They're keen to play on, and that was a mistake. Toya takes it on the edge of the 50. He slips right on it. There was a whistle behind play and a free kick. The umpire's picked out Peter Williams, and he's actually picked out a report, I think, for kicking or tripping. Damasi, the offender, and I think the book is coming out. Or maybe it's Webb. Hang on. Damasi.
Yes, I think you're right, Neil. I think it's come out for a trip to Luke Toya. Got to look at the replay now. You see Mark Damasi just sticks his leg out. He actually missed, so pretty harsh there on Mark Damasi.
Well, maybe the ghost got him the second time and tripped him up, but didn't look to get him the first time. That'd be very interesting at the tribunal. But Peter Williams, the umpire, has reported Mark Damasi for tripping, you would think. Toya, who's broken just about every bone in his body, but seems to have it all together today, and will line up from just outside 50. And even with the breeze, he's just going to sit it up. Oh, what's a huge leap. And then Dale Ellis with the snap touched off the boot. Well, we'll have another look at that. Watts really got up with the aid of a couple of opponents. Just couldn't pull the ball to the ground.
And that's just a great set play by the Eagles. Luke Toya deliberately didn't go for goal, realised he couldn't get the distance. Fergus Watts, forever the athlete and honest in the air, gets up high. Ben Wilson destroys from behind. And Dale Ellis just gets it touched off the boot there late.
Well, the Panthers continue to go to the outer side, and I've got to say, with not too much success, but they've been persistent. They've kept at it. They've kept it to that side of the ground. It just hasn't worked for them, Andrew.
Just need to push more numbers over there. If they know that's the defensive side of the ground, push your centre half back and your ruckman over to that side, so you can at least get a contest, get numbers front and centre, and just work the ball forward through sheer weight of numbers.
I'll tell you what, Hedge is going for a place at Athens at the moment. He is in that high jump. He is really throwing himself up in the air. Ruckman for South Adelaide. This time, ball knocked down by O'Hara, shark by King. They spread it to the grandstand side of the ground. Smith got the punch away from Floriani. Mackenzie, and Wright is down. And also Floriani is hobbling as the ball locked in underneath. And that looks pretty bad for Jared Wright, you'd have to say. In the hip.
Key player for South in the first quarter, 5 kicks and 4 handballs.
Play may have to be held up here because Wright is going nowhere. Taken by Rugolo, beaten by the siren. And it's quarter time at Noarlunga as Jared Wright is in all sorts of bother. We may have a replay of that a little bit later on. And he is in big time trouble there, Jared Wright. Just before we go, here it comes, and I think he may have done a knee. Let's have a closer look. It's a bit difficult to tell from there. But it is quarter time at Noarlunga Oval. And it is the Eagles 38-26. They lead South Adelaide 1-1-7.
So I think both coaches wouldn't be too disappointed with that quarter. Certainly the Eagles, with 11 shots at goal, had the better of the quarter, but South now get the advantage of kicking with the breeze. As we get a look at the early highlights, and South were on top early. They certainly controlled the play around the packs. They worked hard into the breeze, and just through weight of numbers, you can see there's slick hands in tight. Nick Manhood gets a kick of sorts forward, and they just worked really hard. Jared Wright just keeps this alive with a handball, and Rod Tregenza, ever the opportunist, just shoves it on his foot and gets the ball forward. And then all of a sudden the Eagles started to win more of the ball around the midfield, gave their key forwards such as Dale Ellis some more opportunities, and he goes back and nails his goal, and it just arrested the momentum that South Adelaide had early in that quarter.
They did have some momentum, didn't they? South Adelaide, that's a big mark by Carey. It was soon after that to be taken off as part of the rotation. Nigel Smart said, Gavin, just stand there and you can be the step ladder. And as we see, there were a couple of incidents in that quarter. Fergus Watts showing good awareness to get his man to jump into his back and then kick the easy goal.
He's an impressive individual. He's honest in the air. He jumps at absolutely everything. You see a great mark there by Brett O'Hara. That's that's courage with a capital T. To come back with that way, not knowing what's around you. And we see Fergus Watts heavily involved again. So importantly for the Eagles, it really hasn't been their coming forwards. We haven't seen much of Inkster so far. We haven't seen much of their forward crummers. It's been their big men, their Sam Filippo, Dale Ellis and Fergus Watts who have kicked their goals.
Difficult afternoon to watch footy, you would have thought. It will be all to one end of the ground with the breeze being the way it is, and the team at the defensive end into the breeze will want to keep it wide and will naturally want to keep the game all tightened up.
I suggest the outer side of the ground, as South used it well then, they should know this ground better than anybody since they train here, but the outer side of the ground should be the place that the Eagles go. Interesting to see if Ron Fuller goes defensive and tries to hang on to his lead and plays a couple of blokes kick behind the play into this breeze, or what does he continue to back his midfield, try to run the ball through the lines and kick some goals?
Just have another look at that injury to Jared Wright. You see coming in there, and well, it looked to me like that actually might be a cork thigh in the end.
It looks higher in the leg, doesn't it? It looks like hip, cork thigh type of thing. I'm sure Sodas will be hounding them downstairs to find out what's wrong with Jared Wright.
Yes, well, Sodas will join us in a minute, and I'm sure he'll have the latest on just what's going on with Jared Wright. Sodas, what can you tell us?
Well, a pretty dominant quarter by the Eagles, as expected, with the breeze. Robert Pyman's pretty pumped up, and the huddle here is happy. I think they know that the breeze will certainly help them in this term. Jared Wright, the collision was on the hip. He has got a nasty knock, no structural damage, but he will be a little bit tender and sore. I think they'll try and keep him moving and keep it warm, because once he comes off and puts the ice on, I don't think he'll be moving for much of the rest of the afternoon.
No, Sodas, we're just looking at that particular incident then, and you just see collected a knee or some such high up on the leg, and obviously it's better than a knee doing your own knee, I should say. Just a quick look through those goal kickers. Sam Filippo with one, and Watts, as we mentioned, and Dale Ellis kicking the goals for the Eagles, and Rod Tregenza with that lovely little snap in the square for South Adelaide.
And as expected, the Eagles with the breeze have certainly gone inside 50 more times, doubling South Adelaide's input there. Centre breaks, importantly, in favour of South Adelaide, with Paul Lindsay and Brett O'Hara certainly having a better of the ruck details, but they just really haven't made the most of that, the Eagles on ballers.
Time now to look at our tipping competition at abc.net.au/SA Footy. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Bartholomews, I think, is how it is. And congratulations anyway. You will win tickets to an SANFL game. A quick look, Kathy Wisekamp seems to be holding her own all season, and Peter Pan seems to be chasing her all the time.
He seems to be. Let's hope he never catches up to her.
Okay. And a quick look through our ABC tipping board. I missed out last night, but I see Michael Maney had the right selection last night. So, yes, very interesting, that competition. If nothing else, it's very, very close at the top. That's all I'll say.
It certainly is, but interesting, you don't throw the experts in there. You tend to run with your own commentators. What about giving us a go?
The experts? Yeah, well, OK, we might do that maybe next year. We'll think about that. Ronnie Fuller coming off the ground, as we said. It'll be interesting to watch what they do this quarter, because they'll be kicking into the breeze. I don't know that I noticed South Adelaide had a couple of players loose in defence.
I'd certainly expect him early just to go head-to-head and just see how the quarter unfolds. Back his midfield, try to run it through the lines, kick it long to a target. He's got some targets in Dale Ellis and Fergus Watts and Sam Philippou forward. Kick it long, back his midfield, run the ball with handball, and then, as I said, see if they can put some scoreboard pressure back on South Adelaide.
I guess the question would be, can you kick it long into this breeze? It is a very difficult breeze. We saw South Adelaide struggling to get it out of their forward 50 on occasions from kick-ins.
I'd expect they will work the outer side of the ground, play the percentages, and as they enter their forward 50, try to bring the ball back into the middle to a leading target in Sam Philippou, Fergus Watt, get Crummers around, and then maybe steal a goal or two into this breeze.
Robert Pyman, if nothing else, certainly a well-prepared coach, as we know. He's been in AFL coaching boxes plenty of times, and he knows his stuff. Let's go down to Sodas, hear what the South camp has been thinking.
Yeah, boys, thank you. Joining me is Tim Hart, assistant coach. Tim, the breeze obviously is going to be a huge factor. Were you happy with that term?
Oh, yes and no. We're happy that we're not further out of the game, but we would have liked to have been controlling the ball round stoppage a bit more. They're actually working a little bit harder than us inside, and they obviously had a lot of shots that they didn't take full advantage of.
And Robert put the sign up, 15 tackles for the quarter. What's the magic number that you aim for?
We'd like 50 plus. That indicates we're getting at them.
Excellent. Thanks, Tim.
No worries, mate.
Off to Michael Maney with the second term.
Thank you, Mark. 19-point lead to the Eagles. But South Adelaide will kick to right of screen with a good breeze behind them. Second quarter, round 11 SANFL footy. Umpires will throw the ball up. Both ruckmen slip, taken by King. Panthers into attack immediately. Hanby back in on the football. Tremendous competitor. Very slippery in the middle. Let's have a look at this. Look out, Mark Bradley.
Just importantly there for South Adelaide, another centre break. They really have had the better of the centre breaks so far in this game.
Hanby can't quite get it. Ball in dispute, outer side. In goes Nigel Smarthard. Floriani working pretty diligently. Hanby just fed it off to King, whose kick was smothered. Damasi go in hard. Ball just fed through. McKenzie can't get it. Umpire will have no alternative but to ball it up just inside a minute, and Jared Wright is just walking the boundary line. One would hope, for his sake and Robert Pyman and the Panthers, that he can get some flexibility back into that area and get back out on the ground. Massive players on the outer side. The kick smothered off the boot, and a boundary throw in.
And Moggy, I'll give you to give us a stat next time we get a break. Justin Cicolella has been manned up by Nick Manhood, and everywhere Nick Manhood goes, he tries to drag Justin Cicolella away from the play. The further he can get him away, they're now standing deep in the forward pocket, just trying to do a job on Justin Cicolella and stop him from rebounding out of half-back.
King couldn't rove it. Merriman couldn't get it for the Eagles either. He looked to get one high. Pedler got a hand pass out of there. Smothered. Second attempt from Westbrook. Got it to Powell. Powell will take the resultant mark. Wants his players to come up the ground because it is difficult, no doubt, into that breeze. Well, it's also slippery, as we said out there. Lindsay just getting again a bit of the skates on. Inside, well, kick forward of sorts. Colville dropped it. South Adelaide come in and try and get the crumb, but it all goes to nothing. There will be a lot of this afternoon, a lot of stoppage plays, and those are the areas that both sides have done very well through this year, through their ruckman. Bradley for South Adelaide and Lindsay for the Eagles. Ball kick forward. Fruin, quick hand pass off to Stokes. Keeps the ball low and hard. Rugolo takes the mark. Called the play on. Runs himself into trouble. Tries to run himself out of trouble. Now he's set up Hall almost. Hall got it on the left foot across to Stokes. The hand pass inside to Hall again. Long way up the ground. He might get lost. He's usually at fullback, is Stephen Hall. That kick didn't find a player in his Eagles colours. Instead, South Adelaide will get an opportunity to attack again. They come the grandstand side. Hanby with strength. Got rid of his player. He is a long kick, Michael Hanby. He's playing good footy this season. Got the rehab award for his efforts last year and coming back from a very, very bad hamstring problem. He's kicked to the hot spot, and Fruin drops back into the space and takes a nice mark for the Eagles.
Not many hot spots out here at Noarlunga today. Long kick by Fruin to the outer side, finds Lindsay and just gives Smith one. Colville, second mark he's dropped, easy one. Bit of space on the outer side, Powell ducks it back inboard to Inkster. Inkster kicks it long, to the way that breeze just holds it back. Watts and Wilson ball underneath. Ellis also there for the Eagles. So they worked it up the outer side. Ball thrown up. Ellis can't get through.
Matthew Smith back about 150 metres behind play. You mentioned that Lindsay had got him. Well, Matthew Smith still doubled over out on between wing and half forward for South Adelaide.
Thanks, Neil. We can guess what part of the body he is struggling with at the moment. Very painful in there, Andrew, particularly you're playing cricket sometimes and it happens.
You're not suggesting that Paul Lindsay's done something untoward there, Michael?
Oh, no, definitely not. Floriani just hooked it round the body. Good kick into the pocket, hoping for a mark. Watts flew. Ball just comes off Stokes, I think, and Stokes has rammed himself into the goalpost. And he's in a bit of bother, Matthew Stokes. Taking the life out of him there.
We saw him earlier courageously into the breeze, and him there and Scott Webb, who lacks no courage at all, but it seemed as though his finger he's holding there, as he got a beautiful shot on the camera. Seemed as though it's a finger he's holding there.
Well, while we look at that, the ball has gone to the middle with a huge kick in. This is another chance perhaps to go back to Stokes and see what the problem is. Finger or arm. You'd like to think there's nothing broken there, but gee, it was a pretty ugly collision. Sampson just lost control of the ball. Rugolo just got the hand pass out, and they work it in tight off to McKenzie. Long kick coming in from McKenzie, and Phillippo in the middle of the pack couldn't take the mark. Gee, got two hands to it. South Adelaide now working from defence. Here's Webb off the left foot. Webb keeps it low into centre half forward, looking for Hedge. Well picked up by Hedge. Handball of sorts, which the umpire deemed was a throw. And the free kick will go against him. I think it'll be Dale Ellis will take the free kick. Maybe Pedler will wait on it. As we watch Stokes just coming off the ground, carrying that arm, suggesting there is a significant problem. We'll get Sodas to look at that in a minute. Pedler, in fact, got the free kick, turned it over immediately to Tregenza. He was pushed off his kick. It goes high. Cicolella and Pedler talk to each other and say, Joey, you can have it. Pedler now comes to this side of the ground, short. Again, he's got a player on. Colville goes short again. Here's Potter. He's just come onto the ground. That's why he found so much space. Bennett came and met the ball. Powell almost roved it. He couldn't. The quick kick came out there from Sampson. Griffin on the wing. Ball knocked away from him. Out of Merriman. Well controlled. The short pass comes to Toya. Toya still on centre wing. The Eagles still looking for those short passes to go into the forward line. This time Toya, long and more direct. From behind, he's got plenty of opponents. One of them, Bradley. Wilson, fresh air shot, then picked it up, then lost it. Now King. His hand pass, Bradley, too hot for him. McKenzie, the shortest of hand passes. Now up in front of goal, the ball goes again, and South Adelaide, well, they just can't control the ball, and back it comes to Phillippo on the snap. Goal to the Eagles. It was sloppy, but in the end it was effective, and Phillippo has his second for the afternoon.
And goals will be a premium to the left of screen as we get a look at Matty Stokes there with that finger heavily on ice there. As we'll get another look at this as he cannons into the goalpost. Just seems as though he's missed the padding too, because there wouldn't be padding on the other side. You can see straight away he realises he's in trouble. And whether it's a finger or whether it looks as though it's an index finger or something around there. But an important goal for the Eagles. For the first 7 minutes, they really have dominated the play, and they finally get some sort of reward for kicking in the goal. Sam Phillippo, very good finisher.
Possessions this quarter, 28-11 in favour of the Eagles.
Eagles working hard into the breeze. Bit of a worry at the 7-minute mark for the Panthers. Down to Carey. Got it away by Hanby, and Pedler just backing back, takes the mark. Shorts it up to Fruin. Had Hall, thought better of it. Down the wing. Good kick. And Westbrook, who's one of Ron Fuller's projects this year. Westbrook takes the mark. Short kick to McKenzie, I should say. McKenzie, they short it up to Colville. Just crisscrossing. Good kick. And the mark has been taken by Ellis. And a bit of treatment there, and Bennett and Inks to go at it. In the meantime, the ball's gone forward. And will the umpire pay the mark? No, he'll just bring it back, so he must have blown time off. Dale Ellis wouldn't get the journey from here into that breeze. He'll just wait for Watts to get back, and he'll just pump it long and high. There it goes. Won't bring rain. High kick. Watts will fly. Knocked to the front of the pack. Powell thought he was caught high. Cobb worked hard, got it back to King. So they're out of trouble momentarily. King will want the line and gets it.
The Eagles just controlling the play at the moment. The South Adelaide on-ballers haven't manned up when the Eagles have gone forward. So you see Gavin Colville and a number of others, so we see Gavin in picture, really are using their play as well. They're just chipping the ball around, wasting South Adelaide's time with this breeze.
As you said, Andrew, Ronnie Fuller is just waiting and seeing what happens and how the quarter unfolds. He hasn't put too many players behind the ball at the moment as Damasi breaks forward. His kick will find Tarrant, fortuitously Tarrant with good pace, breaks inside and then kicks short. On the lead comes Tregenza, ball thumped away from him, rode nicely by Hanby. On his non-preferred foot, Hanby off the left leg. What's the umpire think? Minor score.
Just an important opportunity goes there, begging by Michael Hanby on his non-preferred side. It was better movement forward by South Adelaide. They finally won a contest around the ground, and Tarrant needs to play in front, needs to make Brent Fruin accountable. Beautiful shot there by goal umpire Cam, showing clearly that missed.
Toya got it from Sikalella. Sikalella will get it back. Has Stephen Hall in a bit of space on the grandstand side of the ground. But he keeps it low, and this is where both sides have turned it over. There's Matthew Stokes with the ice pack on. Don't think we'll see him for the rest of the day. We've said that before about a few players. Tarrant front square. Westbrook takes him to the ground. Bounce. 10.5 minutes gone. The Eagles lead this contest by 25 points. Westbrook number 31. Lindsay got it down. Smart. High kick. Warren at the back, uses the body. He's normally clever. He has good goal sense, Warren. Just overran the footy. Pedler threw it on the boot. That opens it up at the half-back line. Taken by McKenzie. This lopes out of there. Kicks it down the wing. Good-looking kick. Inkster went too early. Well played, Sampson. Mops it up at the back. South go forward again. Sampson's kick into the pocket. It'll be taken by King. King is inside 50. Runs to 40 and drills a goal. With the use of the football by Clinton King, what better way than to steer it through and South get just their second goal of the game.
And importantly for South, two of their class players in Clay Sampson, who won a critical contest at the back there by Tim Inkster, and Clinton King, who worked the ball forward, as you would expect from a player that has played AFL footy and played some quality AFL footy, did finish. So an important time. Once again, they've arrested now the momentum away from the Eagles. They've kicked that goal. They now need to make the most of these centre breaks they're winning, but also to get some ball around the midfield.
Clinton King easily the busiest player on the ground. That was his 14th possession.
Ball in the loose again. Seems to be unclaimed by either side. Finally, Smith gets a kick out of there. Potter goes back, decides not to go for it in the end. At the front, Webb roves it for South. Across to Smart, around the corner, hoists it high. Wait on it and way to the right, and in fact too far. Out of bounds on the full. Importantly and interestingly, it took South Adelaide 11 minutes into the second quarter to score their first goal with the breeze. The Eagles took 11 minutes in the opening term to do exactly the same thing with the breeze. Smart almost got a free kick there. Well, at least a kick straight to him. Now Inkster, off the ground, he picks it up and just hobbles it forward down towards centre wing. Well done by South Adelaide. They take possession through Kruger. Tries to wing it over his shoulder. Not quite. Hanby was being held. Umpire played it on. In the background, there's a wrestle going on involving Nigel Smart and Lindsay. And the umpire comes in, and what's he going to award now? There is a free kick somewhere in there to the Eagles. And it still goes on. Well, I suppose they want to stay warm. Rugolo gets the free kick, or it gets the hand pass at least from Colville down to centre wing. There were 3 touches there from McKenzie. Play on, call the umpire. Thrown out of there was a South Adelaide player, Griffin, and he'll get a free kick. And that will warm the cockles of the hearts of the fans here from the Panthers.
Ryan Griffin doesn't mind mixing it, just got slung. Smith had to go. He's a good player, Smith. He gets around Powell. He'll thump it long into the pocket. Good lead by Tarrant. Doesn't quite get there. Ball out of bounds. Just needed to be a little bit further close to Tarrant. And couldn't get there.
And important, great vision there by Ryan Griffin to bring the ball back in the middle. Just not too sure about the Matthew Smith kick to bring it to the pocket. Put some real pressure on the Eagles defenders by kicking it to the top of the square.
Webb taken out of that contest. Smith again, and has given away a free kick for too high on Floriani. The Eagles spread it to the outer side. Running is Colville. Got a bit of space. He'll get a good shepherd from Inkster. He'll need one. Kicks it long to the wing, backing back and taking a nice mark. Westbrook, plenty of courage on the wing by Westbrook. Just keeps it low. And Watts pushed out of the contest by Wilson. Advantage not paid. It'll come back to Fergus Watts. 9-3, the free kick count to the Eagles. A spear will come on for Inkster.
Clay Sampson's done a job on Tim Inkster today. Very, very good defensive game.
Long kick by Watts in the gap. Hanby, lots of courage. Bounced off a couple. Got it to Bennett. Shared it with Sampson. Now this kick needs to be good. Carey, oh, he just muffed it. Had it spent before it got there, Carey. Powell, will they make them pay? Long kick by Powell. No one can take the mark. Hanby back in again. His work rate today has been exemplary. Ball at a stalemate situation just outside 50 in favour of the Eagles.
Tim Inkster just had 2 kicks, one of which was dribbled. Clay Sampson's had 9.
Yeah, clearly spread. Now Clay Sampson now needs to readjust his game now to attack and suddenly become a very good offensive player for the Panthers.
Well, the Eagles worked it out the back, and just a fumble there from Merriman allowed Smith to kick it away. Colville will be first to the ball, under pressure from Smith. Ball goes wider. Now it's the captain and Sampson. He was beaten by Merriman. Well done by the little man. Away he goes. Just a ruck change being made while Merriman runs down the far side of the ground. Has a look up. Opster goes short. Toya gathered what was a pretty poor kick in the end. The hand pass was excellent to McKenzie. McKenzie from 25 metres kicks a goal for the Eagles. How valuable was that one?
And Andrew Merriman won a great contest on the wing there against Clay Sampson, who looked as though he was going to take the footy and get South going forward. Merriman actually brought the ball ground. You can see there, he's just won that contest there. Has 2 or 3 bounces and works the ball forward, waiting for a target to come forward. Luke Toya presents himself and then cleverly, with a look-away handball, just waits it beautifully for Mark McKenzie as he comes forward, runs front on for goal, and the Eagles just seem to have all the answers at present.
25 points the difference. Mark McKenzie's first goal, 20 possessions last week, has been a star. Carey out of the middle to Warren. He'll load up a long kick. Vacant goal square, getting back and working hard. Bruin. Well, he went for it, Ben Warren. You can't blame him for that. Probably needed another 10 metres or so as Daly comes onto the ground for Carey in that rotation. Hall. Well, not one of his best efforts. But it is pretty squirrely out there.
Just wonder why he kicks on his left foot there. He certainly had plenty of time to get on his natural leg. So we'll see this kick disallowed here. Rodriguenza is going to have to take this kick. And look, he's a dangerous, he's a chance from here. But just wonder why he didn't kick on his natural leg there.
Rodriguenza, the 17-minute mark. They need this. They need to strike back, the Panthers. He is their leading goal kicker. Can kick them from anywhere. But this is the toughest ask in footy. A kick from this pocket at Noarlunga. Sits it up. They fly high. Ball's knocked through. The Massey was there. Ball spills out to Warren. He'll kick it around the corner. He's dropped it. Lovely bit of crumbing by Warren. That ball just kept in play by the Panthers. And the first goal to Warren for the afternoon.
And put this goal down to Mark DeMasi. We get here the Stephen Hall error. And Rodriguenza really does kick this too close to the goals. It should have been knocked through. But you see Mark DeMasi there, number 13, just brings the ball back in. Great shot there by goal umpire Cam. They eventually work it into space. And Warren is the one on the end of it. Almost loses his feet. Just restructures himself. and turns the ball around the corner and gets an important goal for the Panthers.
Damasi and Daly, the two players there responsible for keeping that ball in play, gave Benny Warren the opportunity, which he took his hedge out of the middle. Again, South Adelaide go forward. That one wide. Potter beats his man and Hanby to the ball. Goes, well, wobbly kick. I think he probably intended to go to the boundary. Westbrook was taken down. Potter follows up. The hand pass loose and forward. Smith does well, keeps it in for South, and then does the flop on an opponent. Gives the free kick away. I don't think there's much doubt about that one. Westbrook toe pokes it inside. Rugolo. Turn, he's got a player running for him, Fruin. Fruin, no. Having received the chip pass, didn't have any option but to stop. Now he looks up, everybody's one-on-one ahead of him. Just the two players in Sikalala and Manhood behind him. So it's crowded up forward as he thumps it long. That's a good kick. O'Hara almost pulls it down. Could have got a free kick for too high. Finally, he's got his hands on the ball, but a couple of South Adelaide players have their arms right around him. He wasn't going anywhere. The big man from the Eagles. Let's have another look.
Certainly an arm on the shoulder early, and then the hand comes over the top. Oh. Just important, Clinton King is getting inside all the Eagles at that centre breaks. That's why they lead it. They need to work inside Clinton King. He's been the best performed player on the ground so far.
Also, this player in Merriman's a good find for the Eagles, that he speared it to Filippo. Good work. Look at this, nice and low.
It's a worm burn, and it nearly put a hole in his chest, but look, Sam Filippo is presenting himself very well. And Andrew Merriman was really recruited as an on-bowler. Such is the depth of the Eagles midfield. He has to play a back pocket, half-back flank role. Very handy player.
And also Sikalala's been forced back there too with good results. Filippo's kicked a couple this afternoon. His toughest ask. Kicks it long. It's a good kick. It's there. The Eagles respond. Sam Filippo's got free. That's back out to 25.
Yeah, as I said, he's a very good kick for goal, but you just wonder about this breeze. He's actually kicked out a fair way there, but you see Merriman, who pinpointed that pass once again, and juggled mark there by Sam Filippo.
Just an indicator of the way the Eagles are using the ball into the breeze. In the first quarter, the marks were even. In this quarter, the Eagles have taken 26 to South's 4.
South just haven't really respected them around the ground as they've gone forward. They've been able to use these three players.
Well, time on now in the second quarter. We're into his Westbrook breaking, and he can make the margin 31 points with a straight kick. It's pretty close. It's 32 points the margin, or rather, try again, 26 points the margin. And that's good news for the Eagles, but that's bad news on the screen there as Matthew Stokes going into the rooms. Probably trying to keep warm, but at the same time hide the extent of whatever injury he's got to that arm.
Neil, just the latest on that injury. Matty has hurt his right thumb and he's had it iced for the last 15 minutes. He's just going in to get it strapped, and they are going to give him an opportunity to test it in the second half.
Thanks, Mark. Ellis kicks it long to a contest. They fly. Good mark taken by Cobb. The Panthers in all sorts of trouble, down by 26. Wilson in a bit of strife here. Has he held on to the football too long? No. Just shrugs it and goes to Sampson. He was lucky there, Ben Wilson. Sampson kicks down the wing. Webb's going to have to go. Powell comes from behind. There is the commitment from the Eagles. It's been there all year. Ron Fuller will be happy with that bit of work by Luke Powell.
And he's a very good player. You can see him come across the front there. He can play tall and he can play small. So very flexible punt. Play back, play forward, play midfield. Important acquisition to the Eagles.
So's this man, O'Hara. Knocks it down to Powell again. Shares it back with O'Hara. He's playing good to me at the moment. Damasi. Kick smothered. Well done by Merriman. Got it back again. Colville. Oh, a handball of sorts. He swamped Floriani. O'Hara dropped it like a hot scone. Not too much hot at Noarlunga today. The footy's been pretty hot. And Rugolo takes it over the line on the wing. 26 points the difference in favour of the Eagles, who sit atop the SANFL ladder. 2 points clear.
And we're starting to see the difference between the two sides, where the Eagles, although in that passage of play weren't clean, they have been cleaner than what South Adelaide in this quarter.
Ball scrambled forward for South Adelaide. Warren, who was holding his opponent, Pedler, got away with it. Ball to ground. Well, that was raked in as well. It could have also been in the back to South Adelaide. Eventually it comes out and is out of bounds. Another throw in. So late in the second term, 23 minutes have elapsed and 46 plays 20. The Eagles by 26 points. Eagles, of course, dominant over South Adelaide, won 16 in a row before they lost to South Adelaide in round 2. You see their first loss after winning 16 in a row against the Panthers. Smart will come off the half-back line. Spear did well though. Knocked the ball to his own advantage. Keeps up long for the Eagles. Filippo works his way to the front. Then toe pokes it forward. Bennett comes in. He's tackled immediately by Watts. Bennett gets the hand pass into the path of Cobb. That was good enough. Cobb picks it up. He's got a bit of space to work with. Goes down long looking for Hanby, dropping back into that space. Hanby can't pull the ball in. Pedler just taps it towards the line. Was content with that result.
It's been a solid contributor, Joe Pedler. Can play, mainly plays on a tool. Picked up early, picked up Hemby in the pocket. Now he's got Warren. Will just do his job. Very much an unseen, not a hero, but an unseen player here at the Eagles.
Unobtrusive.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Ball at ground, King. Throws it, Powell with the smother and then got the crumb. Off the right foot, he goes down towards half forward. Ball punched away from Westbrook. Pedler got a hand pass of sorts, scrambled it out of there. Now South Adelaide tap it forward. Big O'Hara shows good skills off to Potter. Puts it up high. Bennett knocks the ball to the front for South Adelaide. Ellis holds on to him and then loses him. Bennett did well to get out of there. Wilson out to Sampson. Had a little bit of space to move in if he just handled that ball first time. Takes on an opponent. Sampson gets a shepherd. Sampson with plenty of room in front of him, doesn't use it. Instead kicks long. The kick was pretty good and Daly took a strong mark and he'll kick at goal from perhaps 40 metres out.
Reinforces the value of Clay Sampson, and South Adelaide have gone forward. They haven't used the ball well. They've generally bombed away. Probably like to see him maybe utilised further up the ground, bring him onto the wing, even throw him in the centre as a running player. And an important kick here for Daly.
Skills on show from Clay Sampson there. And Daly have a shot on goal just to edge South closer so that they haven't completely wasted a quarter with the breeze. Fortunately for Daly, he wasted that kick. So an opportunity goes begging. 25 points the margin in favour of the Eagles.
Just the scoring shots really do tell a tale in this game. The Eagles with 16-6, they really have dominated the play. Probably haven't totally put South Adelaide away on the scoreboard as they would have liked. But if at last 3 or 4 minutes of this quarter, if South can snatch 1 or 2 late goals, they're still right in this contest.
A change for the Eagles up forward. Tim Inkster coming onto the ground for Vinnie Rugolo.
Daly got it across to Damasi, who overran the footy, manhood in hard, and will get a free kick. And I really don't know about that, but the replay will tell the story. But at least he had his eyes on the footy. Andrew Rogers, what do you think?
Look, it's marginal, but look, if the umpires are consistent, we can live with that. But geez, it's an important kick this for goal now. They just burnt one then. Need to kick this goal just to bring himself back into this game.
Just to bring it back to 19 points. Manhood has missed. 24 points in favour of the Eagles, and they need to kick those. There's Matthew Stokes, who, goodness me, surely he's not coming back on. He's gone in for a painkiller, you'd think.
As Kula would have gone in, get some strapping, maybe just give it a quick jab, just to deaden the area, and to come back on.
No, he's going to test it before he comes back on by the looks of it, just to see if he can grab the footy. Potter grabs the footy. He doesn't get an effective kick away. Daly can't handle it. Finally has another crack at it. No. Thrown out of there. Daly will get a free kick. Sean Daly, as you see just in the box there, top left of screen. Stokes being asked to just grab the ball as a kick comes in. Goes to the hot spot. Floriani roved it beautifully. Shortest of kicks. He got one in the back after he kicked it, so it'll be downfield. Colville just as well, because the kick did land short. Tregenza the offender for South Adelaide. So Colville, Eagles skipper, drives it towards the wing. That's a good kick into the breeze too. Carried a good 40 metres. Toya off half back. Toya drives it into the middle. Not the greatest of kicks. Bradley should take it unopposed. He pretty much does. Westbrook came in late. Bradley now to the far side of the ground. Smith in space, but the siren beats him. So a little bit of disappointment in the quarter with the breeze, South Adelaide. And at half time, in this round 11 match at Noarlunga. It's South Adelaide 3-4-22 trailing the Eagles 6-10-46. Andrew Rogers, if you would, please take us through the